Ferrari just revealed their 2026 car. But what they really revealed was a decision so extreme, no other team dared to take it. Not Red Bull. Not Mercedes. Because while others chased performance at any cost, Ferrari stepped away and built something radically different. A car that sacrifices raw power on purpose. That bets everything on stability and trust in an FIA decision that hasn't happened yet. If they're right, this will be a masterstroke. If they're wrong, it could be the biggest strategic failure in Ferrari's modern history. And what they did today was just the beginning. It didn't feel like a car launch. There were no lights, no music, no corporate countdown. Just the cold gray sky over Fiorano, and a sense that something serious was about to happen. Before sunrise, the fans were already there, silent, waiting, watching the gates. No one knew how much of the car would actually be revealed. And that's what made it feel different. Ferrari wasn't just showing a new chassis. They were showing us a decision. The SF-26 rolled out without drama. Not onto a private test track in Spain. Not into a wind tunnel live stream. It came out into the open onto Ferrari's home circuit, in front of cameras, fans, and engineers. No CGI. No filters. This wasn't marketing. It was accountability. And then, Hamilton. Dressed in red for the first time. Not a photo shoot. Not a press release. A real installation run in a real car. 3 laps. Cautious. But deliberate, like he wasn't testing the machine, he was announcing his intent. Minutes later, Leclerc climbed in. Quiet. Focused. He's seen plenty of Ferrari launches before. But this one felt heavier. Because now, for the first time in his career, the car in front of him had to be more than just competitive. It had to be political. Strategic. Safe. Fast. All at once. There were no times released. No sector data. No performance claims. But what Ferrari gave away was far more revealing. They weren't trying to win the internet. They were trying to control the battlefield before anyone else showed up. Because this wasn't just a shakedown. It was a warning. When the covers came off the SF-26, there was a moment of hesitation. Not from Ferrari, but from everyone watching. Because this wasn't the wild, futuristic, rule-pushing car many expected. It wasn't covered in radical winglets or aggressive floor edges. It looked calm. Almost conservative. The side pods were compact but symmetrical. No swollen undercuts. No Red Bull-style contouring. The cooling inlets were shaped with restraint. And there was no sign of Ferrari chasing the extreme packaging trends we've seen from Mercedes or Aston Martin. The suspension choice caught attention, push rod at both ends. That's a first for Ferrari in the hybrid era. But even that didn't scream radical. It spoke to internal stability, giving the aero team more consistent control under braking, and improving how the platform responds to pitch and dive. It wasn't a gamble. It was a system. The shark fin? Barely there. No aggressive spine. No sweeping aero bridge. Even the active aero components required by the 2026 rules were subdued. They were there, but quiet. Which raises the question, what exactly is Ferrari hiding? Because what this car shows, more than anything, is restraint. It looks like a base layer. Like something designed to be iterated, not finalized. And that's what makes it dangerous. If this is Ferrari's launch spec, what are they holding back for March? This wasn't a car built to go viral. It was built to survive scrutiny. To be judged later, not now. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do in Formula One is to reveal nothing. What Ferrari did with the engine is where this car stops being cautious and starts becoming dangerous. They didn't go chasing every possible horsepower. They didn't lean on clever fuel mixing or risky thermal mapping. They didn't try to out-engineer the gray area. Instead, they avoided it entirely. The new power unit, the 067/6, is a clean sheet design, built from the ground up to meet 2026 regulations. And while most rivals are pushing toward variable compression behavior, Ferrari locked theirs at a conservative 16:1. Steel cylinder heads. No aluminum. No borderline combustion hacks. It's not exciting. It's not headline grabbing. But it's designed for one thing, certainty. Because Ferrari isn't trying to win the first race. They're trying to survive the first directive. If the FIA comes down hard on thermal exploits, on the sudden combustion tricks that Mercedes and Red Bull might be exploring, Ferrari doesn't have to change a thing. Their engine's already legal, already stable, already frozen. But that's the gamble. Because if the FIA stays quiet, if no technical bulletin is issued, then Ferrari just handed their rivals a full season of performance advantage, with no way to respond. There's no engine update in June. There's no second chance. Once homologated, you're locked. You live with what you built. And Ferrari built a car that assumes the rules will be enforced, not bent. Ferrari didn't just design an engine. They drew a line. And now they're daring the FIA to step across it. Because this wasn't a technical limitation. It wasn't that Ferrari couldn't chase the same power targets as Red Bull or Mercedes. They chose not to. They made a conscious decision to play clean. And to do it loudly. They revealed their engine specs. They made their combustion choices transparent. And they launched first, not by accident, but by design. That visibility wasn't a marketing move. It was a trap. Now, the FIA knows exactly what Ferrari is doing. And more importantly, what others might be doing that Ferrari isn't. They've positioned themselves as the legal baseline. The clean benchmark. And that forces a question the FIA can't ignore for long. Because if the governing body does nothing, if they allow other teams to keep exploiting the thermal gray zone, then Ferrari has a case. A political one. They can claim the rules were applied unevenly or not at all. And that's what makes this so risky. Ferrari didn't just build a slower engine. They built a test of the system. A bet that Formula One, as a structure, still values clarity over creativity. Still values fairness over performance hacks. But if that bet fails, it won't just be about lap time. It'll be about trust and whether Ferrari ever gets it back. Let's imagine the worst-case scenario. No directive. No bulletin. No clarification from the FIA. Just silence. In that silence, Red Bull and Mercedes win without controversy, without resistance. They continue to extract extra power from a combustion trick Ferrari deliberately avoided. They gain straight-line speed, sharper acceleration, more flexible deployment. And Ferrari? Ferrari is left behind, not because they failed to innovate, but because they believed in a version of the rules no one else was following. And that kind of mistake is irreversible. With engine development frozen, Ferrari has no room to catch up. No path to recover lost horsepower. No workaround that doesn't breach the homologation. They'll be forced to carry this deficit. Lap after lap, race after race, while watching their rivals escape down the straights. And this doesn't just affect the car. Charles Leclerc? He's been patient. He's endured slow starts, failed concepts, and political chaos. But if the SF-26 is off the pace because of a political misread, that frustration won't be quiet for long. And Hamilton? This isn't just a new team for him. This is the final stage of his legacy. He left a winning structure to chase something bigger, something historic. But if this car can't deliver, that chapter ends before it even begins. Internally, the pressure will be surgical. Fred Vasseur approved the conservative power unit. Loixera signed off on the packaging. Gualtieri led the engine strategy. If it fails, the blame won't fall on regulations, it'll fall on the people who trusted them. Because Ferrari didn't just build a car. They bet their entire season on silence turning into justice. Ferrari's car is out. It's legal. It's running. And it's already become the most debated machine on the 2026 grid, without setting a single competitive time. But this isn't about performance anymore. Not yet. It's about control. Who has it? Who enforces it? And who's already slipped past it? Because Ferrari didn't just launch the SF-26. They launched a confrontation between regulation and interpretation, between restraint and risk. Right now, the real race isn't on the stopwatch. It's in Geneva, in closed FIA meetings, in technical directives that haven't been written yet. And every day the FIA stays quiet, Ferrari's position gets weaker. Their bet starts to look less strategic and more naive. Because what they're asking for isn't speed. It's structure. The SF-26 is a car designed for a version of Formula One that might not exist anymore. A version where the rules were clear. Where playing clean was rewarded. Where trust in the system wasn't a risk. But if that version is gone, if Formula One is now about how far you can stretch the rulebook before someone snaps it shut, then Ferrari just showed up to a knife fight. With paperwork. And if that's true, this won't just be the biggest risk they've ever taken. It'll be the start of something far worse. Because if this gamble fails, Ferrari won't be the only ones who pay for it. The entire structure of trust in F1 might start to collapse right behind them.